Objectives and key results, OKRs and how to use them. The learning objectives for this course are OKRs, or objectives and key results, features of OKRs, preparing for OKRs, finding the right OKR cadence, common OKR mistakes, tips to set your OKRs, and benefits of OKRs. Objectives and key results, or OKRs. OKR is a goal-setting framework that helps organizations define goals or objectives and then track the outcome. This framework is designed to help organizations establish far-reaching goals in days instead of months. OKR as a framework has been around since the 1970s. The concept was created by Andy Grove, but popularized by John Doerr, who was one of the earliest investors in Google. OKR quickly became an important focus for Google, and companies such as LinkedIn, Twitter, Dropbox, Spotify, Airbnb, and Uber have since followed suit. The features of OKRs. First, objective, or where do I want to go? An objective describes where you want to go and sets a clear direction. Think of it as a point on a map, a destination like New York. A key result is, how do I know if I'm getting there? It shows you how you're progressing towards your objective. Think of it as a signpost with a distance marker, saying passing mile or kilometer 45. Initiative, or what will I do to get there? An initiative describes what you'll do to achieve your key results. Think of it as a description of what you'll do to get to your destination, a plan. For example, a company OKR might include an objective to increase company revenue by 10%. The key results might be get 50 new customers by the end of Q2 and reduce churn rate to 5%. Some of the key characteristics of objectives are the following. First, it should be aligned. Objectives should always align to the company's vision and support your organization's ultimate goal. An objective should also be high impact. It should always be the things that, if you achieve them, they will have a huge positive effect on your entire organization. And they should be time-bound. Keeping objectives within a short and strict time frame encourages focus and allows you to review them in cycles. This helps you quickly identify what's working and what isn't. Key results should be high impact. Key results should reflect a big change. Make them tough. If they're easy to achieve, they're not challenging enough. Key results should also be specific. They should be focused and have a clearly defined scope. Key results should measure progress, like sales of a specific product. And key results should be within influence. They should always be things you measure, that you don't do, but you can influence. Writing 10 blog posts is a bad key result. It's something you do. Instead, achieving 1,000 views on a blog post you wrote is a good key result because it's something you influence. Preparing for OKR. There are some steps you can take. Before you start using OKR, it's important to have a clear understanding of the challenge you want it to solve and the benefits you expect it to bring. For most organizations, OKR solves the challenge of implementing and executing strategy in a way that's clear to all employees, transparent, and measurable. In order for it to be successful, the implementation and management of OKR should have an owner within the organization. This person is usually called the ambassador. The ambassador's role is to ensure that everyone who will be using OKR is properly trained and engaged and has ongoing help and guidance when they need it. OKR is a framework, but it's also a learning process that often involves a fundamental shift in how people think about and measure the work they do, moving away from a focus on output and towards a focus on outcomes. Finding the right OKR cadence is important. Usually there are two cadences, annual and quarterly. Company objectives are typically set annually, whereas individuals and teams set their OKRs quarterly. Company OKRs are purely directional, and therefore a longer time span makes sense for these. On the other hand, team OKRs are tactical, and therefore quarterly OKR makes more sense. The corresponding shorter review cycles enables organizations to change direction if tactics aren't driving progress towards the company OKRs for the year. There are a few common OKR mistakes you'll want to avoid. First, using OKR as a task list is a bad idea. Use OKR to measure if you are adding value, not if you're delivering tasks. Another common mistake is setting too many OKRs. Rather than being a laundry list of every single thing you do, OKR lists your top priorities. OKR is your definition of what is most important during that quarter. You also want to avoid not aligning your OKRs. OKR is an alignment tool, so you should never set your OKRs in isolation. You have to talk to the other teams. And lastly, don't just set it and forget it. OKRs are not New Year's resolutions. Without regular follow-through, you'll never achieve them. Now let's look at some tips to help you set your OKR. First, keep it simple. You also want to be specific. You can try cascading your objectives. And remember to make it measurable. Don't worry about stretch goals and try to break your key results into smaller goals. Lastly, don't forget to celebrate and recognize accomplishments. If you know what KPIs are, you might be wondering, what's the difference between OKR and KPI? Well, one of the key differences between OKR and KPI is the intention behind the goal setting. KPI goals are typically obtainable and represent the output of a process or project already in place, while OKR goals are somewhat more aggressive and ambitious. However, while OKR goals should be bold, they shouldn't be unreachable. The idea behind this strategy is that by crafting aggressive OKRs, you can push your team and yourself to perform that much better. Here are a few of the benefits of OKR. First, improved corporate direction. The ability to make subtle course corrections through the OKR framework means it's easier than ever to implement meaningful strategic changes from the top down. Another benefit is highly motivated employees. The OKR framework gives everyone a clearly defined goal to work towards. Along those lines, you'll find that teams are 100% aligned. Departments being siloed and isolated is a common problem, especially in tech companies. OKRs can help alleviate this issue by ensuring all team goals are aligned. You also see improved accountability. Since goals are now tracked objectively on an individual level, it becomes easier to make strategic decisions about roles and responsibilities. Some of the key takeaways here. Remember, OKR is a goal-setting framework that helps organizations define goals. OKR can provide a visualization for the goal and results so that they can be achievable. The concept was created by Andy Grove in 1970, but it was popularized by John Doerr. Features of OKRs are objective, results, and initiative. OKRs ensure all team goals are aligned to the organization's vision. One of the key differences between OKRs and KPIs is the intention behind the goal setting. Now, let's take a quiz to test your knowledge. OKR is a critical thinking framework and goal setting methodology. Is this true or false? This is true. Who created the concept of OKR? Andy Grove, John Doerr, Jeff Bezos, or Warren Buffett? Andy Grove created it. It was popularized by John Doerr. Which of the following is not a feature of OKR? Objective, results, initiative, or leading? Leading is not a feature of OKR. What year was the concept of OKR created in? 1979, 1976, 1970, or 1971? It was created in 1970. Which of the following is an OKR mistake we should avoid? A, using OKR as a task list. B, setting too many OKRs. C, using OKR for personal. Or D, both A and B. The answer is D, both A and B. OKR should have an owner within the organization called what? A manager, HR, ambassador, or CEO? The answer is ambassador. Group objectives should always blank the company objectives. A, align to, B, differ from, C, both A and B, or D, time-bound. The answer is A. Group objectives should always align to the company objectives. Which of the following is not a key characteristic of objectives? Aligned, time-bound, high impact, or within influence? Well, objectives should be aligned, time-bound, and high impact, so the answer is D, within influence. Which of the following statements is not true? Business reviews are important for both the client and provider. KPI provides a visualization for the goal and results. OKR and KPI are the same methodologies, or all of the above. The answer is OKR and KPI are the same methodologies. This is not true. OKRs are usually created on two cadences, annual and quarterly. Is this true or false? This is true. Thank you.